What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Real Talk podcast where real people talk about the real. And I know it's been a minute since I've uploaded, probably about 2 weeks now, but no big deal. We're back, man. I've just been going through some things, and today's topic kind of is a reflection of how I've been feeling. And today's topic is trusting in God's process and how trusting in that process is not procrastination, right? And I think that's huge. I feel like for me personally, I try my best to have faith in God. I try my best to believe in God, and I truly do. But I find myself feeling like I'm procrastinating or that I'm taking too long to get to where I need to be or taking too long to start my goals and start accomplishing my dreams. I was having this thought. What if the future that you're able to envision yourself living, what if you could pull that to your present self and make that your life now? What would you do with that? I feel like a lot of people would be scared to pull the future that they see themselves having to them now because they would either be unprepared or they just don't think they're worthy of it or things like that. All those negative emotions we feel when we think about being successful, when we think about being happy, when we think about finding love, things like that. And it just sucks because I feel like I've been going through that. I've been kind of in a rut. But I think I'm gonna get out of it. I think work has a lot to do with it. My work schedule was overnight, so it's like very hard for me to get up on an early morning like this and just enjoy life when I have to go into work and then sleep during the day. It's like it's not a good feeling, but it's not an excuse either. You're gonna find a way around it one way or another if you really want to do those things, and that's what I've come to realize. I've just been out of it with the podcast, and I wasn't going to upload a video of me being fake and acting like everything's good, just to get videos out. That's not how I like to do things. Like I told you, I want to prioritize quality over quantity. And for me to do that, I need to be at my full self and be in a good mindset. And, it's hard to do that sometimes. And yeah, that's just what I've been having going on. And yeah, we're going to jump straight into today's episode. Today's episode 18, I believe. 18, I don't know, maybe 18 or 17, I'm not sure. It's been a minute, but I think it's 18. It's beside the point. Y'all gonna know. It's gonna pop up right here. But yeah, man, trusting in God is huge. God is a big part of the process of being successful. God is a big part of our lives in general. But when you're really trying to focus and you're really trying to go through the process of life and trying to understand your purpose and trying to understand what you want to do with life, you can find yourself thinking that you're procrastinating. You can find yourself thinking that you're taking too long or whatever the case may be. And I feel like I myself have gone through those things, and I feel like I currently am going through those things. I feel like I find myself being confused at what is taking me forever to get started, and at the end of the day, for me, it has been procrastination, but it hasn't been God's fault for that procrastination. The information that God has given me has been great, and it's a blessing. And to be where I'm at now is still a blessing. But for me, it's just like I get in my own head and I just think, to where I allow myself to not even be in the moment to go with the process of life. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to go with the flow. Water has a flow to it. Everybody knows that, right? So you just need to be able to go with the flow. You need to be able to trust the process and just go through life and just experience life. And I feel like I'm terrible at that. I'm willing to admit that. I feel like a lot of people out there may be able to relate to that. I'm just very terrible at like having fun, going out, doing things like that. It's just not my cup of tea, right? It's like I can't do that comfortably knowing that where I'm at is not where I know I can be. And that's what I mean. If you were able to pull that future that you envision yourself having, like for me, I envision myself having all my goals that I have in mind. I'm not going to speak on them now because I'm going to show y'all what they're going to be, and y'all are just going to have to watch and be a part of this journey with me. But my podcast is just an example since I'm already doing it. My podcast, my other channel, which is always in one of these corners if you want to check it out. I'm gonna be uploading a video today or tomorrow about it. Probably tomorrow, because tomorrow I have an interview for a new job, which that job hopefully will give me the opportunity to switch my time to where I will be able to come out here, do these more consistently. Like I've been really plotting, y'all. I've really been plotting on what I want to do. My bad, there's a bug right there. I've really been trying to focus and trying to just trust God's process, and God has me think this way for a reason, and I've come to that conclusion. And that's what I mean. You kind of got to go with the flow, and like I was saying, I just kind of suck at that. I've gone out, I've gone to the club once, did not like it at all because I was just unable to bring myself to be comfortable and have fun, and that's my fault, and that's my weakness in a way, but at the same time, I think that's very powerful. You don't need to be doing that. That will come later when you are in the right mindset, when you are happy, when you are doing what you want to be doing. All those good things will come later, or all those things that you may want to do that may be fun will come later. Whatever you feel is how you feel. That's what I've come to realize, and God has me feel that way. So if anyone's going to knock you for that, they must not like God, because how you going to try to knock me for how I feel? But at the end of the day, God has made me this way, and I've come to realize that I'm kind of the same way, though. I might judge people, or I might be curious about why someone's doing this or why someone's saying that, but at the end of the day, who am I to pass judgment on someone? I'm not God. So we don't have the right to do that as humans. We're envisioned in God's vision when we are made. So at the end of the day, we have to trust God. We have to trust what God has put us on this earth to do. And He was the creator, and He created us in His image. Therefore, we are creators as well. And that's why I like to do my podcast. I like to create things. I like to be able to reach out and help people. And I love the comments y'all have been leaving me. Even if it's one person in the comment section, they always got something positive to say, and I really appreciate that. And I don't know how to say it enough, but I really love when y'all comment. I really love hearing feedback, and I really love hearing y'all opinion on what my topic is that I may be speaking on. And I do appreciate it. I appreciate anyone that watches these videos, man. And I really am thankful for y'all, because at the end of the day, like I said, y'all are a part of this journey, and y'all are going to see that this is just going to continue, and we're going to just keep going up and just going on to new levels. And I trust that, and I believe in that with my whole heart, because God has made me that way. And that's what I've come to realize, that I've just kind of been bad at being in the moment. I've kind of been bad at trusting God's process. And I've been seeing it as procrastination. Like, I went to this other event where it was a lot of Mexican bands playing. It was fun. It was fun. I can't lie to y'all. It was fun, but I couldn't bring myself to have fun until like the last band. The whole time I was just standing there. And if I'm being real, only things that were going through my mind is, I am doing this when I could be doing a podcast episode, and I could be, creating things for my brand and really locking in with that. And that's just all that was going through my mind. And at the end of the day, that's not me trusting in God's process, because God had me buy that ticket for a reason. God had me go to that for a reason. God had me get dressed for that event for a reason. And I still couldn't bring myself to like fully 100% immerse myself in the moment. And it sucked, because it impacted my friends for sure, but it's nothing to do with them. It's just all me, and it's all part of God's process. And I think it made me realize that you really are not comfortable with doing things, making new friends, going out, because you really are not where you can be. And I'm very hard on myself, is what I've come to realize, as well as I've been thinking about this episode. I'm very hard on myself, to where it's like negatively impacting me and negatively impacting others around me. But at the end of the day, I feel like God has me like that for a reason, because He sees that I could be doing so much more. He sees that my worth is worth much more than what I currently am and what I currently am doing. You are not confined by your situation. You are not confined by your thoughts. None of that. You are not confined by that. You are confined by what you know and what you think you could do. And at the end of the day, I know and think, and I know it will happen, that I will be able to really accomplish all that I have been put on this earth to do. I will really be able to immerse into creating and be a creator, because God created us in His image, because He was a creator. Do you not understand that? God created this earth. God created us as human beings. God created the animals. Adam named them. Like, that just tells y'all everything. God created the animals, then God created Adam and Eve, and Adam named the animals and the creatures on this planet. Like, think about that for real. God created another creator, and then more creators, and then everyone's just here to create, man. And whether it's create kids, whether it's create a legacy, whether it's create wealth, whatever it is, you're here to create. Your thoughts and your process of thinking are you creating things. Your goals, your dreams, all those things are you creating things. And I was just reading in this book right here, Don't Believe Everything You Think. I'm just going to skip to this page, because it's great. It's great that they said this, and I feel like it's definitely huge, and I just think it's part of what I was just saying. This is not me going into this book. That's why I didn't show you all this book, because I'm going to do a deep dive into this book very soon. Once I finish it, I'm almost done. Give me another 2 weeks, but right here, goals and dreams are created out of desperation, will feel heavy, draining, confining, and empty. Let me read that again for y'all. Goals and dreams created out of desperation will feel heavy, draining, confining, and empty. We tend to feel a lot of scarcity, fear, and stress, like we have to do it or are obligated to. With these type of goals, it seems like we do not accomplish them. If we do not accomplish them, there will be no dire consequences, hence the high pressure and stakes. I'm sure you can see how this can create a feeling of desperation. Right here, he's saying if we do not accomplish them, that we will feel dire consequences to not getting those goals done, which is proof that if we create a goal out of desperation, then we're just trying to get to that for no reason. And he said that most people's goals that they create is wealth and traveling the world, and they create that out of desperation because they want to feel financially free. I am a victim to that for sure. My family's still struggling. We've been struggling way worse at times. That's why I said it's a blessing to be here. And I'm like I always tell y'all, I'm gonna do a deep dive into that one day. My life, what I've gone through, and the struggles of financial with that. And I'm gonna do all different types of episodes talking about things like that. And especially once I'm able to prove to y'all what financial stability looks like, what financial success looks like. But I feel like I created that goal out of desperation. But for money wise, traveling wise, I just love traveling. I love being able to see this world that God has created, and to be able to experience all different slices of life, all different races, all different things. I want to be able to experience all that because God created it. And that's why I think I want to travel. But to travel, you have to be financially free unless you work at the airport. But even if you work at the airport, can you really immerse yourself in that moment? Could you really have a good time in that moment? I don't think so. I think me wanting to be self-employed is also a dream of desperation, but also not a dream of desperation, of inspiration. And that's what he says. There's dreams that are made out of desperation and inspiration, and there's a great difference in between those two dreams. And I feel like that's a whole episode I could go over with y'all one day about this. But at the end of the day, you got to realize what your purpose is. You got to realize whether you made these goals out of desperation or inspiration. And to me, one thing I love to do is create. I love to create clothes. I love to create outfits with clothes. So imagine when I create my brand, how much easier it is going to be for me to be able to just keep creating and keep creating. And I've already created like 8 drops in my mind that I'm going to do for the brand. It's just crazy. Like I really just be creating pieces in my mind. And it's all out of inspiration of me just wanting to create. And it's a beautiful thing, when you're not creating out of desperation. That's why I think you got to find a skill or find something that you can create that can supply you that financial freedom. And that's why I love YouTube. People create vlogs and podcasts, and hopefully most people do them out of inspiration. There's going to be people that do them out of desperation and become successful, but then they're going to keep doing it because it's become their purpose, which is a beautiful thing as well. And that's what he says in that book. Goals created out of desperation are normal, but they could be used and utilized in the correct way if you do it the correct way. And I think that I created this podcast because I wanted to. I mean, it's something that I was inspired to do, and something that I just had the thought of, let me share my life, let me share my skills that I've acquired, let me share my knowledge that I've acquired, and let me see if I could help other people, because that's the main thing. I want to be able to create clothes, and when I create pieces, I'm like, I could see so many people wearing this, I could see so many people enjoying this, I could see so many people creating outfits with this. So when I create pieces, I'm just like, I'm ecstatic. If I'm being real with y'all, I'm ecstatic because I'm just like, I really created this fire piece that has not yet to come because I have not made the brand yet. And I do apologize. Real soon, y'all. We's locking in. We gonna get it done. Like I said, I'm gonna just show y'all. It's all about showing, not talking about it. And I be saying actions speak louder than words, because they really do. And my actions go to show you that I'm still in the creator process, and I've created so many things now. It's time to take action, but I'm trying to learn to trust God's process with taking that action, and I have not been able to do that. I've been going against that in my mind. I've been wasting my time, wasting my money, wasting my thoughts and my creative mindset to do other things, and that at the end of the day is how most people fail and how most people do not become successful. And that's the truth of the matter. If y'all don't like that, I don't know what to tell y'all, but that's just what y'all needed to hear, because the reason that most people fail is procrastination. But that's not you not trusting in God. That's not you not believing in God's process, because God's process is you waking up every day, you going through life doing what you need to do. God will guide you. If you trust and believe in God, He will guide you. And that's not procrastination. So you got to understand that. You got to understand that you need to trust in God's process. You need to believe in God. You need to just go with the flow of life. And I'm still struggling with that, y'all. And I'm learning to do it more, but it's all learning. And God has me in this mindset, in this way, in that He's created me in His image, and He's made me a creator. And I'm blessed to be such a creator because I create a lot of things. Different topics throughout the day of what I'm going to talk about. My list is crazy. I've shown y'all on one of the episodes. It's literally like a crazy list of topics I've made. I have group topics that I want to do with friends, that I want to do with family, that I want to do with other people that create on YouTube. And that's why YouTube is kind of a beautiful thing. You know, it's a lot of creators. TikTok is a lot of people that create, but they're creating and it's copy and paste, and it's kind of like doom scrolling and things like that, you know. And I've recently just been trying to be off of social media. Social media is really just like you're doom scrolling, you're getting that dopamine. It's not a good feeling. And once you realize you're doing that, like me, I'll pick up my phone. Let's say I'm playing the game and I'm loading in between matches. I'll pick up my phone because my attention span has been cut so short because of my mind when it comes to that. And at the end of the day, that's not what I want to do. I want to be able to create things that make people feel immersed and make people feel inspired and make people want to create as well. And that's why I think YouTube is great. You know, ever since I was little, I loved watching people's vlogs. I loved watching people play video games. I loved watching people create edits of them playing video games, montages. You know, Fortnite montages were huge. I created those at one point, and they weren't crazy, but it was something I did because I loved creating. And that's why I love YouTube, man. It's just so cool being able to see how many other people have a creative mind and being inspired instead of creating out of desperation. You know, obviously there's good money to be made on YouTube. Everybody knows that. But at the end of the day, if you're creating it out of desperation, you're never going to really be successful in that. So yeah, man, just trust in God's process and just believe in God and believe in yourself. You got to believe in yourself. That's the biggest thing. You got to believe in yourself and have faith in God. When you trust in God, that's not procrastination, y'all. So I'm glad I've been able to come on here and talk about that. I'm glad that y'all made it this far. Excuse me. I'm glad y'all made it this far. I'm glad that I've been able to really express to y'all that you are not procrastinating. You can do so much if you just trust in God's process, go with the flow of life. And it's not you putting off your goals. It's not you not even having goals or being purpose driven. You still have your purpose because you're waking up thinking about those goals. But you not doing certain things or you not being able to enjoy yourself is not you going against God, not you going against your goals. If anything, it's you depleting yourself from the true happiness and essence of life that God has blessed us with every day that we get the chance to breathe. Because at the end of the day, you need to just be able to enjoy life. You need to be able to enjoy like the beauty of nature. That's why I come out here and I do the podcast out here. I can do the podcast in my room. That would be cool. You know, some days I might have to if it's raining or whatever the weather may look like. If it's hot right now. I'm not going to lie. I'm sweating a little bit and there's mad bugs, as y'all probably have seen me swatting them away. But at the end of the day, I love nature and I love it because God created this. God created this earth. God created a lot of things. God created us, which we created things because we are creators that are made in God's image of creation. Y'all got to understand that. And once y'all understand that, y'all understand you're not procrastinating, that you're really just going against God because you're having such a negative mindset because you may not be where you think you should be, right? And like I said, I've fallen victim to that. I still currently am falling victim to that, and I'm working on it. That's why I wanted to do this episode. You know, I want y'all to grow with me. I want y'all to create with me. And I feel like that's huge. And I feel like that's me also proving to y'all that this is authentic, that this is just me being me. This is me being real with y'all. This is me expressing with y'all that this is how I feel about certain things. And like I said, I'm very thankful to anybody that comments. I'm very thankful to hear y'all feedback. Never hurts my feelings. If you want to say something negative, something positive, do what you must, you know? And it's all love, man. It's all, you know, it's all trusting in the process. You know, it's all part of the process. And you got to believe in God's process and have faith in God and what He's going to do for you and what you're going to be able to do for yourself once you're able to just go with the flow of life, man. And yeah, this was a great episode. I love talking about this. And one day, you know, I'll be able to go into it deeper when I fully have learned to go with the flow of life, man. You feel me? But this is the Real Talk Podcast where real people talk about the real. And I appreciate y'all watching. Peace out.